Peter Carey's body is inside the cabin.
These scratches are fresh. You're right. Someone tried to force open the door.
I swear these scratches were not here yesterday.
Our mysterious visitor came here last night.
Well, he's not the man for the job. This lock is not a difficult one.
Perhaps... What a terrible way to die. This wooden handle is plain and solid. This blood is from the pool underneath the dead body. Peter Carey tried to defend himself with this knife, but he did not succeed. J.H. These abbreviations mean something, but what? Someone was here yesterday. They attempted to force the door to gain entry. The weapon fully penetrated the body. The force of the blow was immense. Peter Carey was impaled to the wall by a whaling harp. Peter Carey's boots. They look to be a size 8. Old navigation instruments, nothing interesting. The murder weapon was probably taken from this rack. The ship's logs of the Sea Unicorn for the years 1878 to 1884. Peter Carey was her captain. Someone drank from this glass recently. The initials PC have been crudely burned. A sailor's work. This aroma is familiar, but to recognize it, I must construct my associations in one picture. Yes, this is a coarse tobacco, quite strong and very popular among sailors. Rum, a sailor's drink. It seems that Captain Carey was enjoying a drink before he met his death. The ship's logs of the Sea Unicorn for the years 1878 to 1884. Peter Carey was her captain. The tooth of a spur. This place is not covered with dust, like the rest of the shelf. An object was taken from here. It was larger than a book, a box or a small chest, perhaps. Dundee. Hammerfest. It's a whaling map. The Sea Unicorn. She was the ship that Peter Carey commanded. These boots don't match the footprints. The ship's logs of the Sea Unicorn for the years 1878 to 1884. Peter Carey was her captain. This man is in his 50s, yet he still looks quite strong. Peter Carey was fully dressed. He was not caught by surprise. It is possible that he knew his murderer.
Mr. Holmes?
These footprints appear to be quite large. Is this your husband's tobacco pouch?
I'm not sure. It might be, but he hadn't smoked in a very long time.
Your husband's private papers. Do you know where they are?
There was a small tin box, barely larger than a book. He kept his papers there. It should be somewhere in his cabin.
The garden is very large and well maintained. Do you employ someone to look after it?
It is true, there is a lot of work, but my husband took care of it himself.
Thank you, madam.
Well, Mr. Holmes, what do you think?
I think that we are lucky.
And why is that?
Because of last night's attempted break-in.
Oof, you've lost me.
It is very probable that whoever came here hoped to find the door open. They tried to force it with a knife blade, but they failed. What will they do? Why, return tonight, when they will be better prepared.
Aha! So what do you propose?
We shall remain on the outside, near the window, where we stand the best chance of catching sight of our visitor. Well, gentlemen, ready your pistols. We have a long night ahead of us.
We need to find a good place for an ambush. Perhaps behind Carey's cabin, near the window.
This looks like the perfect hiding place.
Did you hear that? There's someone there. I'm gonna collar him.
I'll be right behind you.
Police! Hold it right there! All right, my fine fellow. Who are you and what are you doing here?
You're detectives, I suppose. You imagine that I'm connected with the death of Captain Carey. I assure you I'm innocent.
Innocent? Then what are you doing in his cabin?
Shall I tell you? You came to retrieve what you had lost after killing Peter Carey, but we were here waiting for you.
What is your name?
John Hopley Nelligan, but I didn't...
Do you deny that you came here yesterday?
No, but yes, it's just that I couldn't...
I'm tired of this. Off we go to the yard. Tomorrow, I'll see that you're put in front of the judge.
What? But you can't! I'm not... It's a terrible mistake.
Enough. You can explain all of that to the judge. You're coming with me to the yard.
But
In light of recent events, it seems evident that your coming here was unnecessary. All the same, I'm very grateful to you, Mr. Holmes.
You are welcome, Inspector. But please don't be too hard on our young fellow. I would like to question him tomorrow morning. These are the suspect's belongings. And partner, 1883. From R. Dawson. To my friend, Dawson. I've seen this name before. Perhaps my archive holds the answer. A handkerchief with the initials J.H.N. A pocket knife. It was used to force the door of Peter Carey's cabin. The notebook that we found on Peter Carey's cabin floor. These abbreviations...
Mr. Holmes?
Does this notebook belong to you?
yes. But where did you find it? I did not know... I thought I'd lost it at the hotel.
What do these abbreviations mean?
Oh, no. I beg you, I can't. If I told you, it would only make things worse.
But I will find out eventually, Mr. Nelligan. The sea knife was found near Carey's body. Tell me, Mr. Nelligan, did Mr. Carey try to defend himself or to attack you with it?
I don't know. I didn't kill anyone.
The police seized this valuable ring from you. Whose is it?
I didn't steal it from anyone. It has always belonged to me.
The ring's date of engraving is many years ago. You would have been a child then, hardly in any position to receive such an item from a partner. So, Mr. Nelligan, who is the true owner of the ring?
The ring is mine.
No, Mr. Nelligan. I believe that the ring had belonged to your father.
Oh, but how do you know?
The jacket you are wearing is made of an expensive fabric that only a man of exceptional wealth could afford. You do not seem to me to be a rich man, Mr. Nelligan. Furthermore, the garment is ill-fitting. It is quite clear that it belonged to someone else, most probably your father. With your father gone and taking with him the family's wealth, as a little boy you had to find yourself a manual job, and it was most probably cleaning fish. You cut your hands often while working. I can tell from the scars.
I'm speechless, Mr. Holmes. It all happened exactly as you say.
Well, I will see you soon, young man.
Please, let me go!
That is not the one I... That is not the one I need. That is not the one I need. Here it is. Now I begin to understand that young man's story, but I am still unclear as to what connects him with the murder. It is time to ask him. My analysis table. It is useful for my work. Locked. I have heard the story of Dawson and Nelligan. The West Country bankers.
Yes. Joshua Nelligan was my father.
I am aware that it had a bad ending. When the bank failed, it ruined half the families of Cornwall, whereupon Joshua Nelligan disappeared.
My father was under extraordinary pressure. Dawson had retired. I was only 10 years of age at the time, but it was still old enough to feel the shame that befell our family. My father was convinced that he could pay off all his debts if the creditors gave him time. He set sail for Hammerfest.
Interesting. Joshua Nelligan and Peter Carey were both at sea in Norway. There is definitely some connection between Peter Carey and Joshua Nelligan's disappearance. That should do it. 1883. That's the one I need. This is the crew list of the Sea Unicorn. Log notes for June. Nothing unusual. Log notes for July. Log... Canadian Pacific Railway, CPR, a torn piece from a bond certificate. I have seen this abbreviation somewhere very recently. There are 3 ways of discovering what happened in August of 1883 aboard the Sea Unicorn. The first 2 of these will require speaking with a dead man. The last would be to locate vital witnesses, the sailors involved in this whale hunt campaign. Something new. I have only to find them. Let us hope they're still working at the harbour.
I think that if you pretend you're from Scotland Yard...
I doubt it, Watson. And really, I would prefer that all of them...
And who might they be?
The secret police division of Baker Street.
Ah, you mean young Wiggin?
Yeah. There is always... Brave Toby. The best...
Wiggins, could you come upstairs, please?
At your service, Mr. Holmes.
Wiggins, I need you to track down certain people for me. I'll give you a list. You can read, can't you?
Big Oliver from our gang. He can, as his father is the coachman of a famous lawyer.
Fascinating. Here is the list of sailors.
Sailors? Easy. Just got to look where the rum and the red lights are.
Sorry to trouble you, Mr. Holmes, but the inspector asks that you come to the station as soon as possible.
Thank you. I'll be there shortly. A spot of whaling, Watson. Would you care to take part?
Are you serious?
No, but we do need to clarify what happened on the night of...
A reenactment, then?
The sailor's knife, Watson. Why was it on the floor?
Peter Carey attempted to defend himself?
It is possible, but if that is the case, then it alters many things.
I don't quite follow you.
Tell me, my friend, what is the animal closest to man, morphologically, I mean?
Ah, I see what you're getting at, Holmes. You asked me that once before. On the Ripper case, I believe. Do you want to slit some more pigs' throats?
No.
Thank goodness for that.
I wish to impale one with a harpoon.
Wonderful.
Watson.
And
One of...
well, here we are in the... A little...
Stand aside.
Holmes, you should aim for the mark in order to perform the most reliable test.
This is the best possible result that I could get. Do you see, Watson? Throwing a harpoon and pinning a man to a wall requires either exceptional strength and training or diabolical luck.
If it was luck, then it was a chance in 1,000 that night.
Well, yes. Let us leave now.
All right. But before we go, I suppose I'll have to pay for all these carcasses you've happily mangled.
Very well, but please hurry.
Of course.
Mr. Holmes, I'm glad to see you.
As always, what happened?
We have a new suspect, Liam Hurtley. I'm thinking that this case will be resolved very quickly now.
Interesting. Pray tell.
Well, the constable that I left at Woodman's Lee noticed a suspicious individual prowling around during the night.
Do you have him here?
Of course. It's in the evidence room, at your disposal. Admit that for once, Mr. Holmes, Scotland Yard is a step ahead of you, eh?
Breathtaking. These are the suspect's belongings. Liam Hurtley's old boots. They're a size 9.5. A pen, nothing unusual about it. The stains are fresh. Please escort this suspect for interrogation. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sherlock Holmes. I would like to ask you a few questions.
I've already...
Precisely, and considering your situation, it might be wise to speak with someone who is, shall we say, rather more neutral. You are a suspect in a murder case.
I know.
That's all for now. These boots match the footprints exactly. Does the name Liam Hurtley mean anything to you?
No, I don't know anyone by that name.
Thank you, madam. I need to prepare a chemical agent that is capable of removing fresh ink. For this purpose, the chemicals from the flasks should be combined in a certain order to perform a chain reaction. First condition, all 7 reagents should be used. Second condition, orange reagent should be the third one in the sequence after the blue reagent. Third condition. Colorless reagent should be added after the orange reagent. Thank you, madam.
What am I doing here? I've done nothing wrong. What am I doing here?
Please escort this suspect for interrogation. Tell me, Mr. Hurtley, what were you doing at Woodman's Lee?
Woodman's Lee? I've never been there.
The second pair of boots that you had with you when you were arrested perfectly match the footprints found near the cabin where Peter Carey was murdered.
Footprints? That's your proof? How many men have boots like mine? That doesn't make me a murderer.
Now that your presence at Woodman's Lee has been proven, would you care to explain it?
I don't remember. What would I be doing there anyway?
Now that your presence at Woodman's Lee has been proven, would you care to explain it?
I don't remember. What would I be doing there anyway?
Because you are the gardener at Woodman's Lee.
I'm not. How did you...
I observed your hands. They told me that you work with the earth. Small fragments of plants snagged to your trousers indicate that you were mowing very recently. But the most obvious clue presented itself in the bird embroidered on your handkerchief. A crested tit, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, you got me. Yes, I am a gardener, and I went there to get my tools.
So tell me, Mr. Hurtley, what did you hide?
Hide? What are you talking about?
I did as you asked and hid them well. Should I continue?
My letter? But the ink? That's impossible.
A touch of chem.
Well...
That's all for now. Hurtley's stories are false leads. But now I know one thing for certain. I must examine the site where the garden tools are kept at Woodman's Lee. locked. Madam, we have information that the valuable stolen papers are hidden amongst the garden tools here at Woodman's Lee. We need to find them.
Oh my. Our tools are kept inside the shed that's right behind me. Here is the key to open it.
Thank you, madam. Let's see what could be hidden here. Let us see what is in this box. A bundle of letters in a woman's hand with the Carey family monogram. Hurtley and Mrs. Carey were in a relationship. That is interesting. Madam, I am aware of your affinity with Liam Hurtley.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Madam, I am aware of your affinity with Liam Hurtley.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Madam, I am aware of your affinity with Liam Hurtley.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Madam, I am aware of your affinity with Liam Hurtley.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Mrs. Carey, we found your letters.
My letters? I asked Liam to return them to me. I wanted to burn them.
Why did Mr. Hurtley put them inside the garden shed?
I don't know. I wanted them back, but I couldn't see him, not after what happened.
Well, here they are.
Oh, this is terrible. Terrible. Liam, how could he? After what he has done.
You believe that he killed your husband?
No, I do not know. I do not know. Leave me alone, please.
Thank you, madam. I wonder if Wiggins has managed to find any sailors.
Mr. Holmes, we found the sailors from that list you gave us.
Well done, Wiggins. Let me see. This man is a harpooner, and his initials are PC, the same initials that were found on the tobacco pouch. Wiggins.
We found Patrick Cairns.
Good job, Wiggins. Where is he?
He lives in a small furnished...
Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
My archive. I can always consult with it if needed. If I wish to speak to Cairns without alarming him, I had better dress as a sailor. Now I can approach Cairns. Hello there. Are you Cairns?
What do you want?
We've heard all about the gambling on arm wrestling here. You seem like the likely sort, and I'm up for it.
I start at 10 shillings.
Suits me.
You were lucky. I wasn't focused. Let's go again.
I'm ready to try again.
Fine. If you want me to take all your money, no problem with that. Well, good for you, I reckon. You're stronger than you look. Here's your 10 shillings.
I'd like to buy you a drink.
Good winner as well. That's good. Let's have a drink. You're a good type. Seems you've managed to settle down in life. You've got money, eh? Oh, well.
Why do you say poor? You're not working?
I'm a harpoon.
A harpooner. Interesting. You've had a lot of adventures, I bet.
Ah,
Black Peter, you say?
but you...
Tell me, and let's have another drink.
It was in 1883 that one...
And who...
I don't know. During the crossing, he and the skipper enjoyed some long talks. His baggage was just a tin box.
That's strange enough.
Aye, even...
You know what happened, don't you?
I do. I saw the skipper tie his heels and push him over the rail in the middle of my watch on that dark night. 2 days before we sighted the Shetland lights.
Black Peter.
Oh.
Back in a second. I'm off to the Ghazi.
I'll be here with my drink.
Here it is. Have you got any tobacco? I've run out of mine.
Nah, I lost my pouch. I don't know where. Wait a minute. What's this?
Oh, is this your tobacco pouch?
Well, oh, it is.
Well, I have to go now. I'm done here. It's time to leave.
I'm not saying another...
What am I doing here? I've done nothing wrong.
Mr. Holmes?
Thank you, madam.
You met Patrick Cairns, the harpooner. Do you believe he's the murderer?
How is the investigation going, Mr. Holmes? Do you have any idea who the murderer is yet?
These are the suspect's belongings. I wonder if these are connected. Now we have the proof that Nelligan's papers were in... The case is solved. I am now ready to present the guilty party.
So tell me, who killed Black Peter?
There are two culprits, Inspector, Nelligan and Hurtley.
What? Well, I would never have guessed, Mr. Holmes. They are a rotten pair, though.
It was a combination of two motives, culminating in one crime.
What were their motives?
The first was revenge. Black Peter possessed the bond certificates that had belonged to Nelligan's father, and young Nelligan wished to retrieve them.
And the second?
The second was a crime of passion. Liam Hurtley was in love with Black Peter's wife, and this caused a conflict between him and Carrie.
Well, well, well. Makes sense, Mr. Holmes.
I suggest that you organize a small confrontation between the two, just to confirm my accusation.
That's a good idea, Mr. Holmes. I'll talk to these fellows. Join me in the interrogation room. Gentlemen, we know everything about your association to kill Black Peter. Admit that you planned it together.
Our association? I don't even know this man.
You needed to kill Peter Carey. There had to be two of you there.
Ridiculous. I'm innocent.
All that remains is to determine the level of guilt. Which one of you is the initiator in this case?
But I just told you I've never seen this man before.
It's him. He's the culprit. He was forcing me. He threatened me. He's the mastermind behind it all.
Shut up. You're a lunatic.
Well, it all seems very clear, don't you think, Mr. Holmes?
Both are guilty, of course, but I believe that Hurtley was the initiator of the crime.
It's ridiculous. Why would I need the help of this weakling?
You wanted to be rid of the man who was terrorizing his wife, and who prevented the two of you from being together. Young Nelligan was just following his lead.
You are wrong. I have nothing whatsoever to do with this.
You'll explain that to the judge.
The case is resolved, Inspector. I shall return to Baker Street.